Why is there a statistic indicating 6.7 billion Onyx, or should I say even over that? Now, the reason why there is that statistic is because that showcases the amount of Onyx that is currently being locked up, not only over Ethereum, but also on the Onyx layer 1. Keep in mind, this represents around 17% of the total supply when it comes to Onyx. And I'll explain in today's video why this actually is of importance, at least in my perspective, and why I think it's actually pretty amazing in terms of what I'm seeing so far when it comes to Onyx. But keep in mind, I am not telling anyone to do anything. Nothing I say is financial advice, and this is just purely my perspective from what I can observe. Now, here's the thing. Again, if we take a look at that right there, around 6.7 billion Onyx, or should I say even over that, that is currently being locked up. This is pretty massive because, first of all, I think this does indicate more so of a long-term conviction, because typically people don't want to lock things up, at least when it comes to this space, if there is no kind of long-term vision, right? So I think that's pretty impressive. Now, also on top of that as well, we have to keep in mind, even though this isn't the best ratio out there, just like I mentioned before, this is around 17% of the total supply. It's pretty impressive, especially when we consider how Onyx isn't necessarily the biggest project out there. We have to consider this is a project that is currently ranked 147th in the world. It's not such a massive project. Sure, it's top 150, but it's not like anything that's top 50, top 30, or anything like that. It's not. So it's pretty impressive, and especially if we consider how the market cap as of right now is around 155 million, it's pretty impressive seeing this. Not to mention as well, the more Onyx that is locked up basically, inherently, doesn't it give more strength? It gives it more security. So it's pretty impressive as well. Not to mention, if we think about it, this right here, I think, signifies that, again, sure, some people have left Onyx, but some people just haven't left. And quite frankly, if we take a look at it, over 100,000 individuals out there in the world apparently seem to be holders. And this is not something I figured out. No, it's literally on the screen. As of right now, Onyx has almost 148,000 holders. I'm just one person. I can't control anything when it comes to this, but that's just from what I noticed. So when I take a look at Onyx right there, I get it. It's often overshadowed by some of the bigger projects out there like Stellar, like Ripple, you know, something like, for instance, in the case of XDC, and even to a certain extent Zebic, which is Onyx's closest competitor. But if we consider how Onyx is still focused on global trade and finance, that's its bread and butter, right? We have to consider as well, it has a layer 1 blockchain called Goliath, and not to mention, around 17% of the total supply is currently being locked up. You know, I don't think it's necessarily doing so bad in my opinion. It's not the most popular within its own niche, because again, it's being overshadowed by like Stellar, Ripple, and all that. But also at the same time, it can hold its own. It still has well over 100,000 holders, and the core focus of the project hasn't really changed. So I'm a fan of seeing this. Now, was this anything that's gonna just automatically make Onyx so massive? No, not really. I mean, when Onyx posted that, it's not like everyone suddenly thought, oh wow, we didn't notice that, and then suddenly it became this massive thing. Not really. But I think their post is a little bit more symbolic, right? It kind of showcases the accomplishment that figure indicates, in which case it showcases how, you know, a lot of its supply is currently being locked up. So it's a big milestone in my opinion. And keep in mind, take a look at the Onyx AI agent. Now, here's the thing. People oftentimes don't think about Onyx as a project that has an aspect of AI, but apparently it does through that. So that's the thing. Onyx, in my opinion, kind of has multiple pathways in a sense where its bread and butter is still global trade and finance. You know, that hasn't changed. But they also have AI as one of their tools, in a sense, right? One of their tools in their toolbox, something in their back pocket, if that kind of makes sense. Because now, okay, maybe, you know, global trade and finance doesn't really do too well for them. They have AI. But if AI doesn't really do too well for them, they have global trade and finance. So there's option A, there's option B. That's the thing. Now, if both do okay, then okay. You know, it's pretty awesome, right, when it comes to Onyx, but at least they have multiple pathways. That's the thing. They have the primary and they have the backup, if that kind of makes sense. They have the Batman, they have the Robin. And of course, I'm talking about Batman and Robin, like the superheroes, you know, from the DC movies and comics. So yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Because I remember not too long ago, I said Batman and Robin, and someone asked me, who's Batman and Robin? And I was like, wait, seriously? So yeah, I just want to clarify that in case someone may not be familiar about, the comic books and the movies when it comes to that. But yeah, besides that point, Onyx, as of right now, people like to say, wow, it's not doing good. Well, yes, I agree. I mean, it's been having a recovery of almost 1.5% in the past 24 hours. Really, it's so negligible in the grand scheme of things. Like, for an altcoin, that's really like not even something so massive. But at the same time, what I'm seeing is that we're still around 6 times lower than its peak last year, which I have zero complaints in regards to that because, I mean, if something is around 6 times lower than at a certain point in which it once was last year, I'm not going to complain because if it could return back to that, I'm already going to Sizzler. I mean, here's the thing, right? I know some of my friends out there as of right now that are so happy that Bitcoin is around 2 times lower than its all-time high. Totally understandable. But I know some out there that said, oh wow, imagine if it was around 5 times lower or around 6 times, 7 times lower than its all-time high. Some of my friends out there would hypothetically like that for dollar cost averaging reasons. But when I take a look at Onyx, I kind of view it no different. And if anything, it's not around 2 times lower than its peak last year. It's around 6 times lower. So if some of my friends out there are happy that Bitcoin has a dip and maybe some of them want an even bigger dip, I think about it no different here. It's just that this is an altcoin and Bitcoin is not an altcoin. It's just a different thing, but it's like, tomato, tomato, right? It's like eating lasagna. I'll eat it from a certain restaurant and I'll also eat it from the other restaurant. I like it either way. That's the thing. Personally for me, Bitcoin and Onyx, they kind of feel like lasagna to me. It's just a little bit different, right? Maybe, Bitcoin is that lasagna that's more so made in a fancy restaurant, something that's a little bit more, kind of known historically. This one is a little bit different. This one is a bit of a different ecosystem, in my opinion. But I don't mind either way because, lasagna is lasagna to me. And when I take a look at this space, a dip is a dip in my perspective. I'm not going to complain where I see it. That's the thing. Again, I'm not telling anyone to do anything, but when I take a look at Onyx, they're still doing things. And need I remind people, they're planning for multiple announcements, allegedly. But as they say it, multiple surprises. But, we'll wait and see. But they're planning for multiple things, basically, on July 1st. Could it be a new partnership, a new listing, maybe a new update, a new upgrade? We have no idea currently, but they're planning for multiple things on July 1st. And from the looks of it, just from the way they're kind of talking about it and the enthusiasm that they have, it kind of feels like they view it as a big deal, at least to me. Because if I take a look at it, Onyx historically so far, what is the biggest accomplishment it's had, in my opinion? It's launching their layer 1 blockchain called Goliath, right? I think we can probably agree with that. But then here's the thing. When they launched the mainnet of Goliath, even back then, they didn't really kind of talk about it in this high of a regard. They didn't seem so enthusiastic about it. Now, they did seem pretty happy, but it wasn't as enthusiastic as what I'm seeing them kind of hyping up, I think, July 1st. That right there seems to be a little bit more like enthusiastic, right? I don't know why, but for whatever reason, whatever they're planning on July 1st, they seem to be having a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of charisma when it comes to that. So maybe if it was an even larger event, then launching the mainnet of Goliath, its layer 1 blockchain, it wouldn't surprise me just basing it off of their enthusiasm. Now, it could be a flop. I mean, I have no idea. Like maybe, let's say they announce whatever they want to announce on July 1st, and then let's say it was very lackluster. Okay, maybe that's, a little bit of a disappointment, but we're not on July 1st as of right now, and just basing it off of their enthusiasm, they seem pretty happy as to what they're going to be doing on July 1st, or announcing, I should say, right? But yeah, overall, I'm still waiting, but that's just pretty much it as of right now. I'll be sure to make more updates when it comes to Onyx, so I want to say thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a very nice day.